this phenomenal feat. We congratulate you and thank you for bringing so much joy to the people of Ghana. Your victory was not just a victory for the NDC, but it's indeed a national victory. And the fact that the whole nation has been in joyous mood has been evident from the very day happiness is the desire of every Ghanaian, and indeed every human being. And that is actually the essence of living. And its importance has been acknowledged in our Constitution under the directive principles of state policy. For our young compatriots who are in school, their happiness to derive from attending classes in beautiful classrooms and under beautiful conditions. For adults among us, the joy derives from having well-paying, stable jobs that allow them to afford the basic necessities of life. And for our pensioners, joy comes from having secure pensions that allow them to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. But the joy for all of us, the happiness that we want, extends beyond just basic survival. We need good roads, and we need everything that will make life comfortable. And as I said already, the emphasis on happiness has been established in our Constitution, which requires that government shall ensure that our economy is managed prudently to ensure the delivery of the basic necessities of life to all Ghanaians, to ensure good living standards, and also to ensure the happiness of all. Your Excellency, I believe our country has made significant progress over the years, and we have all lived in great hope of making our nation great until very recently. So, Your Excellency, the hopes of an entire nation rest so much on your shoulders. As I said, we've been making progress until recently, until we came under a brand of democracy that was defined as property-owning democracy. A type of democracy that seemed to thrive on disrespect for the truth and for the rule of law, lawlessness and impunity, injustice and inequality. Justice no longer has been available to all. Of course, we know it's always been a very lucrative business in the hands of a lucrative profession. But we know that recently our justice system has become bastardized to facilitate the interests of a few. That has allowed corruption to flourish in our country. We all are aware of the PDS scandal, a cathedral hole that has cost the nation $58 million. We are aware of the Ameri scandal. We are aware of the ambulance purchases that include stocks of spare parts. We also are aware of the hurriedly implemented DRIP program that aim at converting our assemblies into road contractors. The corruption that we've suffered over the years have been helped by the reckless management of our economy, where we saw what I call predatory policies that were structured to benefit a select few. We have had bad approach to monetary policy management that saw the reckless printing of currency. And we are seeing the Bank of Ghana completing a head office building that's supposed to cost almost $300 million US. That could have built more than 20 of the stadium that Goldfields built in Takwa for $13 million. We are trying to compare here one head office building to more than 20 10,000 capacity size stadiums. That is the extent of recklessness that we have suffered in our country. This was also helped by a bastardization of our institutions. So our democratic institutions could no longer work to protect the interests of the masses of our people. A few have exploited our democracy for their personal gain. They've converted it into an enterprise that benefits them. There are people who are consumed by privilege and who will respect every decision only to the extent that it benefits them. So, Your Excellency, contrary to the aspirations of our people, as expressed in our Constitution, our national anthem, and etc., for happiness in an economy that is growing, what we have suffered recently was a collapsed economy that has put our country under severe debt, with our currency depreciating every day, inflation skyrocketing, joblessness became the order that has made life difficult for our young graduates. Your Excellency, our country, we all know, was bankrupt, and that is why we were unable to pay our debt. We have been told, or we learned from very early ages, how reliable investments in government securities were. But we have learned a new lesson that it's not always so. Living in its wake, a lot of suffering by our compatriots who have lent their monies to government. And the worst victims have been our pensioners who had no other source of income. Ghanaians have suffered a lot and are still suffering, which is why there's so much desperation among Ghanaians to travel abroad. And survey has shown that majority of Ghanaians, given the chance, would leave our dear country in search of greener pastures elsewhere. Crime has been on the increase for that reason, and so has been the suicide rate. Your Excellency, this is why Ghanaians have voted massively for you. Ghanaians have endorsed your call for change. They have endorsed your promise of change. That is why I say the hope of Ghanaians rests squarely on your shoulders. Ghanaians have welcomed your reset agenda, featuring a brave fight against corruption. Your idea of a 24-hour economy that would expand production and expand jobs is a very great initiative that I personally believe in. As someone who operates a factory, I know that if I can get my factory to run 3 shifts, it would mean that we are trebling at least our production labor force. So, Your Excellency, thank you very much for a policy that promises a lot for the people of Ghana. I had a call from a friend yesterday. He called from the United States. He was aware of how anxious we were to see change. And then he asked me, Togbe, how is your new government doing? I was so proud to say, so far, so good. Your Excellency, Ghanaians appreciate the fact that you are moving at the speed of light. I'm a very, very ambitious, hardworking person, but I'm so impressed by the number of things you have achieved within this short period. Sometimes your government begins to look like one that has been in place for a very long time. The speed with which you appointed your ministers, well, Ghanaians will say unprecedented. And you fulfilled your promise of limiting the size of your government. And you are delivering that promise right from the onset. Oral. Oral was great news for all of us. It's bad enough to suffer, but it's worse to know that you are suffering because a few people think they deserve all that the state has to offer and get themselves involved in a desperate scramble for our limited resources and our property-owning democracy. We support all your intentions, all your plans to retrieve everything that was lost. Funds that were stolen, lands that were stolen, buildings, and etc. Your Excellency, you have our fullest support. And we are particularly excited by the fact that you desire to make it unattractive for anybody to embark on that road. And that is why you have won your own appointees to look elsewhere if they intend to make money. It's our hope that they will respect this prescription of yours. And indeed, you've actually asked your appointees to declare their assets, and that's also very heartwarming. I'm also impressed about the speed with which you quickly constituted your Constitutional Review Committee. I've always said that our Constitution has outlived its usefulness. It is partly the reason why impunity has thrived, by the reason why people take national assets without any fear of retribution. And it's heartwarming that you are doing this, particularly because we've always said that one bad part of the Constitution is the enormous powers given to the president. That you are willing to look at this is very heartwarming. It demonstrates your absolute commitment to the interests of our country and to the progress and the happiness of our people. I also have enjoyed so much watching you try to restore Ghana's image through your travels, trying to reestablish lost friendships, trying to reestablish Ghana's leadership in African affairs. It's my prayer that the good Lord gives you the strength so you can continue to do all the good things that you plan to do. Just like every other region, we in Volta are anxiously looking forward to the benefits of your leadership, giving us better living standards. Again, we know that there is need all across the country, but it's worth noting a couple of things that we Voltarians are very anxious to see happen. The Eastern Corridor Road that you started has virtually been abandoned, and we are anxious to see it completed. And I'm sure you are aware that Ho and other parts of the region are suffering from water shortages, those who require immediate attention. Your Excellency, let me thank you very sincerely for not forgetting the whole airport. And I want to thank you for instructing the Ghana Airport Company Limited to release the land for those of us who want to build a pilot training school in Ho. Thank you very much for making a point to ensure that this outstanding issue is dealt with very quickly. When I reflect, it hurts that we paid money for land in June 2023 in order to operationalize the whole airport, and we are yet to be allocated the land. Thank you very much for your intervention, Your Excellency. I also want to thank you for giving us someone who promises to be a very good regional minister, who, even before you gave this mandate, has demonstrated a willingness to work with the people and for the interest of the people. We know he will not be like the one we just had. I recall that in 2020, when Volta felt under siege from soldiers that have been sent from Accra, in a run-up to the elections of 2020, we came together, a good number of us from the Volta House of Chiefs, visited the then President, Nana Akufo-Addo, to appeal for mercy on our people. Sadly, our minister was there, together with one of our own sons, Mr. Mehu. They denigrated us and embarrassed we, the chiefs. We left extremely sad. For instance, it was said that I, Togbe, was going around the registration centers, interfering with registration, which was not true. It was said that we, the chiefs, were all NDC and would typically import voters from Togo, hold them for weeks so that they could vote for the NDC. Those were the comments that were made against us right in our presence, and it wasn't a palatable experience at all. So again, I want to thank you. You've given us a minister who I am convinced will work with us for the good of the people, for the good of the entire country. We will do our best to support you. In Asogli, for example, we've already started developing a model of our development plan, which we shall be launching very soon. All those hopefully will aid your work you'll be doing. So we shall not sit and put everything on your little shoulders, but we shall also play our part. But of course, you know that very little can be done without government. And we will share our experience with the chiefs across the Volta region, so we can do our widow's might to help your efforts to bring the Volta region up. We shall be looking at other things, at our mini hydro resources in Kohoe, in Apipe, and etc. But Excellency, the important thing for us today is the fact that you've chosen to start your thank you tour from here. We are very happy and very appreciative. We pledge our full support to you. You can count on us on everything that you want to do to move our country forward. But let me advise all of us, in particular our brothers from the NDC, that the biggest tribute we can pay to the memory of the founding fathers of your party is to hold firmly to the principles of honesty, of probity, of transparency, and of accountability. Thank you all very much. And may God bless us